You are tuned in to On Air with Chris Shanafelt. Welcome back to another episode of the Player Spotlight Show. I am your host, Chris Shanafelt, and I am now joined by 2020 NFL Draft prospect, one of the more under-the-radar prospects in the country, but a guy that has had a really big impact on his school's program and a guy that really showed out the last couple of years. He's a defensive end out of Kansas Wesleyan University, Shaq Bradford. And Shaq, really appreciate you taking some time tonight, man. How's everything going?
You know, it's going good. You know, just living life day by day.
Absolutely. That's all we can do. Let's get right into it, Shaq. I've actually been familiar with your game for a little while now. Going back to your junior year, which was, of course, your first year at Kansas Wesleyan. What you've been able to do there has really been remarkable. Stats don't tell the whole story. So for those of you that are listening to this interview and you're just now coming across this prospect and this is your first time hearing about Shaq, I really encourage you to go back and watch any type of film or highlights that you're able to get your eyes across because again, what you were able to do there, man, was something that I don't know if I've really ever seen it. I mean, just looking at some of these numbers that you put up, and again, these stats don't tell the whole story, but throughout your 2 years at Kansas Wesleyan, some really eye-popping numbers: 63 tackles for loss, 43 sacks, and when you're playing on that defensive line, you're a pass rusher. Those are the numbers that really stick out: tackles for loss and sacks. And again, you were able to record 63 tackles for loss, 43 sacks. I'm sure it didn't take long for teams to game plan against you, Shaq. How were you able to just straight up dominate week in and week out, despite being one of, if not the main focus on opposing teams?
Well, with me, I take my film work very seriously. So, I try to break it down first by player and, then my personnel. But, some of the things I look for is you're a guy that's going to, set out super wide on me, trying to, regardless if they want to protect that speed rush. And, I'm just looking at how I think that they will block me and just a lot of tendencies that I see from, the offensive line in itself and then, particularly the person I will be going against throughout the whole game.
And before landing at Kansas Wesleyan, Shaq, you took the JUCO route. You were at Southwestern Community College in your home state of California. Yeah. What was the JUCO like for you, and how did you ultimately wind up roughly 1,400 miles northeast at Kansas Wesleyan?
Yeah. Well, first of all, everybody going the JUCO route, everybody wants that. You go there trying to get that Division I scholarship, which that's definitely one of the reasons why I wanted to go. Unfortunately, things didn't happen that way. I had previously committed to a D2 in Colorado, Fort Lewis College, but I broke my foot, and then certain things didn't go my way. And I found myself, searching for a home. The recruiting process slowed up really fast for me. So I contacted one of my coaches back at Southwestern, and I told him, can you put out my film? And, he did that. A couple of teams hit me up, and, at all the, NAIAs that hit me up and all the other teams, Kansas Western just seemed like a great place for me. I didn't want to go anywhere where I had anything handed to me. I wanted to bring a program that, needed somebody or just needed a piece that can get them over that hump. And I felt like Kansas Western was just a perfect place for me to try to get a team to somewhere they haven't been and just to showcase my talent and give a team my all. Because prior to me leaving, I had broke my foot my sophomore year. So, I had a lot of time to think about football and life in general. So, this was definitely the place for me to have what you can say a comeback season.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That's to say the least. Not only did you have a ton of success individually, Shaq, but just looking, it looks like you guys had quite a bit of team success as well. Looking at this past year,
Definitely.
You guys dominated week in and week out. I mean, you got a score here against University of St. Mary, 90-0. Didn't even know
Yeah,
that was possible in football to score
yeah.
90 points, let alone shutting out the other team as well. How much better, how much more fun is it to have that success individually, putting up these big type of numbers on the defensive side of the ball, Shaq, as well as just dominating teams week in and week out, getting the W's at the end of the day as well.
It's surreal, because at the end of the day, I'm a big team guy. So, of course, everybody, they're going to say that. Of course, I have my personal goals that I write down, but my team goals come first, at the end of the day. And I wanted to go undefeated throughout, my collegiate career, at Kansas Wesleyan, which we did throughout the KCAC. And, it's so comforting just to know that each and every day you're going to build memories, throughout practice and throughout the weight room and just being around a group of your brothers. So just to, in going back to that 90-0 game, it's just amazing because, whether it's the first string, second string, third string, you're going to get everybody's best. You just can't go out there and be like, oh, well, I'm getting in because this. No, it's all fun. It's all, it's all family where we cheer each other on, whether it's me, whether it's, our quarterback, Johnny Foto, DeMarco Pruitt, some of the, our top leaders on the team. We love to see everybody, make plays and accomplish goals. And just at the end of the day, just having fun with this game that we call football.
I'm curious, Shaq. What do those expectations of yours look like before a football season? Because I'm curious, did you hit those personal goals of yours, those personal expectations when looking at your game and the numbers you wanted to put up individually? Because, again, 63 tackles for loss, 43 sacks.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if those are video game type numbers, man. I mean, you absolutely dominated week in and week out.
Yeah, there were. I set my goals extremely high. So I know before I came to Kansas Wesleyan, I threw out, this crazy number. I said I wanted 30 sacks in my first season here, and and to get 23, it was a great accomplishment because I don't want to sell myself short, and I really felt like I could get 30 sacks, but I just feel like if you want to go get something, you're going to go get it regardless, and if you believe in the work you put in, and if you truly love the game, like you say you do, then you shouldn't be surprised when you put up, certain type of numbers, But yeah, I definitely got close to a lot of my goals. I fell short a little bit on a good couple of them, but those were more of my team goals, which was to win the national championship and sorts of things of that nature. So,
Well, hey, anytime you're rewriting a program's record book, can't go wrong with that.
Oh, definitely not.
So now, Shaq, you don't have to share any secrets or anything, but take us into your repertoire of pass rushing moves. I mean, what's your favorite way to get to the quarterback? Do you have a favorite move or a technique that you like to use on opposing offensive linemen to get to the quarterback?
First, I'm very explosive off the ball, so my speed rush is definitely my number one. And with me, it's a chess game. I'm gonna keep hitting you with that outside, and then eventually when it comes to that third and fourth quarter, and then I now got you overly kicking back, to slow down my speed rush. I'm gonna start ducking you inside, and that's what I really love doing. I love to set up the outside speed rush and just start ducking you inside. I love the club and rip. You can never go wrong. And even if that doesn't, one of my third best pass rush moves is the speed of bull. I got you on your heels at that point trying to stop that speed rush. So once I hit you with that bull, you're not expecting it. So that's definitely probably the top three moves that I go to.
So I'm curious, was there ever a point where opposing teams, where you knew that they had game planned around you? I mean, maybe not when you first arrived at Kansas Wesleyan, maybe it took a game or two or three, but was there like a switch that flipped? Did you realize, okay, these guys are game planning around me now? I was probably their focal point, during the week in film sessions. I mean, did you notice anything different? That first year when the conference kind of really recognized who you were.
Yeah, I started realizing that probably around like week 4, week 5-ish, when teams started zoning to my side, or I really first started to know when I was getting a game plan, when they start calling my number out, when they start pointing, obviously, and I was just like, oh well, I kind of know what's coming at me now. But yeah, the offense would zone to me. I would have, when the tight end didn't get chipped, or a receiver within that's the slot receiver come chip me. So yeah, or they would keep the back end. Obviously just give them just a little more time. But yeah, I seen it very early, and it really helped me for the next season coming up, which was the 2019 season. So. Yeah, I definitely saw all types of combination blocks. I know we were playing against Benedictine once, and I've never seen this before, at least while I've been playing. The center came all the way around to the tackle side and came to chip, or came to help block, and I was like, wow, and I'm glad that I went through it my first year, because I was, when I saw it again, my second year here, I was like, okay, well, I kind of know what to do. I kind of know what to do at this point, but yeah, I've seen a plethora of blocks throughout my 2 years I came to Wesleyan University.
I gotta think it almost feels good when you see things like that, and then you're still able to do what you've been able to do there at Kansas Wesleyan. Again, we're chatting with Shaq Bradford, 2020 NFL Draft prospect, pass rush specialist out of Kansas Wesleyan University. And Shaq, when you hear that, I mean, 2020 NFL Draft prospect, what kind of goes through your mind? Can you believe that your collegiate career has come to an end, and now here you are gearing up to play professional football? I'm sure it's always been a dream.
Yeah.
When did you really recognize that this could turn into a reality?
Probably, I want to say early 2019, we had some, NFL recruits come, and, I had the Raiders talk to me and, did the little measurement test. And that's when, I really knew, there's somewhat of a possibility where, these teams are looking. They're at least giving me that somewhat of an opportunity to, not necessarily, showcase what I can do, but just giving me, the time of the day. That Raider scout didn't have to come talk to me and take all my measurements down, but just the fact that we took that time out to do that, it really opened up my eyes to know you have an opportunity to take your talents to the next level. And and throughout the whole season, we had NFL scouts come, and they used to come over and watch me and our other NFL prospect Eli Smith go at it. So it was just very surreal. I couldn't believe it, at first when I first started coming, but I'm appreciative.
Now, if I've done my research correctly, Shaq, there's only been one player from Kansas Wesleyan University who made it to the NFL. That was offensive tackle Warren Smith back in 1947. If and when you make it professionally, will it feel any better knowing that you're taking a route that not too many people have made it to the top at, specifically coming from an NAIA program and having to overcome some of the things that you've had to overcome throughout this journey? Earlier you mentioned the broken foot, coming out of JUCO at one point, committing to a D2 school, and now having to take the NAIA route to get to where you're at today. Would that kind of add a chip to your shoulder once you do make it to where you want to get to?
Definitely, because, as a high school, or just even as an athlete in general, your goal is to make it to a Division I school. And if all fails, you want to make it to a Division II school. I think all athletes, they just try to avoid that D3 and NAIA route. And I guess it didn't take me a long time. So I remember going, through the JUCO route and having NAIA schools and D3 schools to contact me, but I never shunned them away. I always gave them, the respect that they deserve. And when I realized that, this is your option, you have to go NAIA or D3 or NAIA. It kind of made me happy, because I wanted to be one of those people out of this division to be like, hey, he did it. It's bigger than me. I want this, wherever I go, I want this to be I want to be a role model to other kids. To be like, you can go this route. You can go the NAIA route. You can go the Division III route. I want to be that role model. Like, you can do it. You don't have to set your your goals high. You should. Don't get me wrong. You should, but you shouldn't shun a D3 or NAIA because there's so much talent in this division, and I'm so proud I went this route. And I'm so glad for all the team success and the individual success that I've had, because I know whoever's watching, it's like, okay, if Shaq can do that, then I can, and that's the one thing that I will hold close to me, just knowing that I could be a role model for somebody that's going this route or that has had trials and tribulations going, throughout, their lives. I just want to be one of those role models.
Absolutely. Now, is it NFL or bust for you, Shaq, or will it be or could it be a similar, route for you as well, where you'll listen to CFL, you'll listen to some other leagues, kind of like how you did coming out of high school and coming out of JUCO, listening to the other divisions. Are you just interested in any opportunity that might come your way, just kind of testing the waters at this point?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely interested in whoever gives me an opportunity, and that's just going back to my my decision of coming to Kansas Wesleyan. They showed the most interest, and I told the coach, the head coach prior to him leaving a year ago, Coach Drinkle, I was like, I'm going to give you everything I have, because everything I have, academically and athletically, because you gave me an opportunity, and at the end of the day, that's all anybody can ask for. So to answer your question, no, it's not NFL or bust. If the opportunity presents itself, then whichever team from any league, I'm going to give them my all, and they're going to get one hell of a player. So yeah.
Again, he's Shaq Bradford, 2020 NFL draft prospect, pass rusher out of Kansas Wesleyan University. A few more questions for you, Shaq, and then we'll let you go. Really do appreciate your time. You were the NAIA's top vote getter for the Cliff Harris Award, given to the top small school defensive prospect in the country. This year, it was a Division II safety, Kyle Duggar, who won the award out of Lenore-Rhine. Last year, it was cornerback out of Dubuque Division III program, Michael Joseph, who won the award. Again, you're the NAIA's top vote getter, not only this past year, but last year as well. That award certainly tends to carry some weight. It's only been in existence for, I believe, maybe 4 or 5 years now. I want to say 5 years now. But everybody who's won the award has played at the next level, has played in the National Football League.
Definitely.
Does it mean anything to you to be the NAIA's top vote getter for that award the past 2 years?
Yeah, it definitely did. Like, that was one of the goals that I wanted to obtain prior to coming to Kansas Wesleyan University, and it was just a blessing, especially to get it my first, or to be a top vote getter, my first year here, and it's just a blessing. I'm thankful that they even recognized me, being from a small NAIA school. So it was definitely something I wanted. I wanted the big trophy. I wanted the overall trophy. Don't get me wrong. I wanted it. I know when I first got here, I told one of my coaches, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to be the first junior to ever win it already. With it being 4 years or 5 years being in existence. But yeah, like I said, I set my goals really high. But but with doing that, it got me 2 years of being an NAIA top vote getter. So I'm very appreciative.
Yeah, that's certainly not anything to look the other way at. I mean, that alone is an accomplishment. Again, I'm looking at your guys' schedule and just going through some of these scores, man. I mean, 56-3, 51-0. I keep going back to that 90-0. Just very impressive. And then, of course, you guys made it to the playoffs and got a victory against Baker University. Unfortunately, November 30th against Lindsey Wilson College in the quarterfinals of the NAIA football. championship series. Shaq, that's when you guys went down in defeat. It was 35-24 was the final score, and that would turn into what would be your final collegiate game. Again, November 30th. What has your schedule consisted of since then? I'm sure maybe you took a couple of weeks off, kind of get your body right, get some rest. Can you just kind of take us through what the past couple of months have really consisted of since your season has been over?
Yeah, we went on break. I took a good 2 weeks off. To of course let my body heal up and spend time with my family, get away from football for a good couple of weeks, and after that I'm right back to it. I'm in the weight room 6 days out of the week, working out on the field, building my cardio, working on pass rush moves, working on moves to maintain my strength within the run game. I've just been staying very consistent on doing the thing that I love, and that's playing football, being consumed by football, watching film on the great linemen and just great players in general. That's what I've been doing, just getting my mental right within the aspect of life and sports, and just staying on the grind.
There's a bunch of great pass rushers that are currently playing in the NFL. We know the history of some of the great pass rushers, from the past. Who are some of the guys that you like to watch? They could be current players, they could be former players. Who do you like to go back and watch and maybe take bits and pieces of their game and add it into your own? Is there anybody that, I'm not going to say you'd like to compare yourself to, but who are some of your favorite pass rushers to watch and maybe learn from?
Yeah. When I watch people, I try to watch them more of my playing style, which is that burst and everything. So I know definitely one of them is a Hall of Famer, John Randall. His just explosiveness is just amazing, and in his personality, like he's a goofball just like me on the field. He just has a lot of fun, and that's how I play the game. I
probably hung out with. I actually met John Randall in the summer at the Pro Football Hall of Fame and hung out with him for a good half hour, 45 minutes, and first time meeting him, and you have a conversation with the guy, and you would think you knew him for 10, 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an amazing guy. I've been trying to contact him through Instagram for so long now. I think he liked one of my comments when I posted under his picture one time, and it made me happy just that he did that. But he's definitely up there on one of those people that I look up to. And another person is Aaron Donald, of course. A guy that's kind of my stature, and very explosive, to play and tackle, knows wherever you want to put him. So those two guys are the people I look up to, definitely.
How do you think teams are looking at you at the next level? I mean, are you a hand in the dirt type player at the next level? Do you see them kind of moving you to maybe an outside linebacker? Has there been any feedback from scouts or coaches as to how they might view you at the pro level?
Yeah, when the Raiders came down to talk to me, they said they could really see me playing linebacker in the NFL. I have the stature. I have the length within my arms, and I fit that description. And a lot of teams that were coming to see us practice say outside linebacker is definitely a good fit for me. And I'm highly open to or I'm willing to change positions. But it's something I'm comfortable with. I feel like wherever I'm needed, I can be highly successful. So yeah.
Final question for you, and then we'll let you go, Shaq. Really appreciate your time. It's been a great conversation. It's a question I end all of my interviews with, and that is, let's say we have all 32 NFL general managers. They're tuned into this very interview. Why should they want the pass rusher out of Kansas Wesleyan University, Shaq Bradford, a part of their team?
Like I said, I hold myself to a high standard. I feel like I could be one of those players on the team to change the game. I feel like I'm I know that I'm one of those players. You know, I feel like I'm an Aaron Donald type of player. I feel like I'm a John Randall type of player. You know, I feel like wherever one of the 32 teams would put me, I'm going to produce at a extremely high level. You know, you're not gonna regret, you know, giving me the time of day. I'm going to show you, you know, why I have been so successful for so long of what I've been doing. You know, I'm a great teammate. You know, I'm one of those people who's not going to be a hazard, you know, to the locker room or, you know, do anything that's just outlandish. I feel like, you know, I'm a once in a generation type of player, like I've said before. I'm just ready to get an opportunity, you know, wherever it may be. So, you know, that's the spiel.
Hey, over 100 tackles, 63 tackles for loss, and 43 sacks, and that's not even, you know, your entire 4-year career. That's in 2 years. For those listening, that's the past 2 seasons. So, you know, I certainly think there's something different about you, man. There's something special about you. And even watching your highlights, watching some of your film, I mean, and I'm not just bullshit, man. I mean, there's something there, and I certainly think you have what it takes. And, again, to be able to do what you've already done up to this point, you know, throughout this journey of yours to get to where you're at today, I mean, that alone is very impressive. So I really think that there's something there, and I think teams out there have noticed it. I think they're going to continue to notice it, and you know, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch where this journey brings you next, Shaq. Really appreciate you taking some time tonight.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you so much.
All right, great, man. I'll get to editing this interview tonight, and like I said, I'll have it uploaded by tomorrow afternoon, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you, too. Thanks for giving me, you know, the time and hitting me up and responding when I hit you back. I truly appreciate it.
Nah, man. Hey, the pleasure's all mine. Hope to keep in touch, man. Hopefully this isn't our last time chatting.
Oh, not at all. Thank you.
Awesome. Take care, man.